So today we're going to talk about another microphone comparison, and mainly the Rode Videomic NTG versus the Rode Wireless Go 2 that you're listening to right now, and the Movo VXR10 that is already boomed above me but not yet plugged in. The reason for this is I always struggle with my microphones, meaning I never have one if I need one. So I've decided to put this Movo VXR10 Pro in my camera bag and basically leave it there. Whereas I'm usually leaving my Movo VXR10 here in my office. And since I'm not too keen on always putting everything up and tearing it down, I've decided to invest in another microphone, simply to put inside my office at all times. And so far my weapon of choice for this is the Rode Videomic NTG, because I can use this for client talks and plug it directly into my MacBook. But as I had them, I figured why not do a comparison. And so here we go. I'm going to start with a blind comparison, as always. I'm gonna throw the Rode Wireless Go 2 in there, even though they aren't meant to be compared to these kind of microphones. But here we go. In public speaking, there's a time-honored axiom. Tell them what you're going to tell them, then tell them what you've told them. I've expanded it to tell them what you're going to tell them again a little differently, tell them again a little more differently, then tell them what you've told them. In fact, I try to tell them 7 times. In public speaking, there's a time-honored axiom. Tell them what you're going to tell them, then tell them what you've told them. I've expanded it to tell them what you're going to tell them again a little differently, tell them again a little more differently, then tell them what you've told them. In fact, I try to tell them 7 times. In public speaking, there's a time-honored axiom. Tell them what you're going to tell them, then tell them what you've told them. I've expanded it to tell them what you're going to tell them again a little differently, tell them again a little more differently, then tell them what you've told them. In fact, I try to tell them 7 times. In public speaking, there's a time-honored axiom. Tell them what you're going to tell them, then tell them what you've told them. I've expanded it to tell them what you're going to tell them again a little differently, tell them again a little more differently, then tell them what you've told them. In fact, I try to tell them 7 times. So that was the blind comparison. And just for kicks, I've threw in iPhone 13 mini, boomed overhead, just like the other microphones. And right now you're listening again to the Rode Wireless Go 2. So if you're interested in the book that I've read from was The Ultimate Sales Letter from Dan S. Kennedy, highly recommended read. And as always, none of this is sponsored. I've purchased all microphones with my own money. No one had any say in it. And basically this is more for me than for you, because I'm just trying to decide whether or not the investment of $250 into this microphone is worth it, or if I should just get 5 Movo VXR10 Pro, because I can just as easily plug that into my laptop as well. Okay, I'm gonna listen to all these recordings now and come back with my final verdict and if I'm gonna keep that microphone or not. Okay, I've listened back and forth to all 4 recordings, and here's what my opinion is. First of all, the iPhone is absolutely unusable. I don't know why I've put it in there, but I was curious to see how it would stack up, because phones generally are pretty good at picking up sound, and I've honestly thought that the iPhone would hold up better. But there was a lot of reverb, a lot of ambient sounds, and none of it was usable, not even as scratch audio. So I'm pretty sure the onboard mic on my camera would do just as well. The thing is, don't use it. The Rode Wireless Go 2, in my opinion, compared to the other 2, sounds a bit hollow and flat. It hasn't this, I don't know how to call it, this deeper, more full sound. And therefore it's not comparable, really. It wasn't the point. I just used it basically so I have a third microphone to, well, not use either or without being in a comparison, because that would affect your hearing. So as a palate cleanser, you might call it. The Rode Videomic NTG. It sounded to my ears uncompressed, without any compression due to YouTube. Really, really clean. It had a nice pointy sound. It wasn't affected by any ambient noise. And mind you, here's an MRN 60D with a fan that's right beside my microphone. It didn't pick up any of this. And in this room I somehow have an issue with static or electric current that's getting picked up by the microphones. And the Videomic NTG doesn't pick it up at all. There's no trace of this electric current whatsoever. And that alone will be the reason why I'm keeping it, because even if I plan to take it on a shoot someday, having that ease of mind that all these electric interferences we have around us every day will not affect the microphone, even with this long cable that's plugged into my camera, is just such a big ease of mind. Because if I'm using the Movo VXR10 and I'm gonna play a clip, I had to redo it because I forgot to unplug all electricity inside this room. You can hear the electric current inside the microphone. In public speaking, there is a time-honored axiom. Tell them what you're going to tell them, tell them, then tell them what you've told them. And I didn't change anything between the microphones other than plugging out the electric outlets. And I can't imagine being on a paid shoot and coming home and my audio has that electric current baked into it, because you can't get rid of it. I've tried, and that would be really horrible. So therefore I'm 100% gonna keep the Rode Video NTG or Videomic NTG. Okay, but sound quality of the VXR10 Pro. Sound-wise, it's really close. Honestly, if you listen to them back to back, there's hardly any difference in sound. At least not worth $200 worth of difference in sound. Given that most people listen to YouTube videos on their iPhones or Android phones or whatever smartphone device, or on their computer in the subway with cheap headphones. So these minor differences won't matter. Okay, now just for clean audio comparison, I'm gonna put them up again one after the other and intermix them so you can, well, have them compared closely. Yeah, let's do that. In public speaking, there's a time-honored axiom. Tell them what you're going to tell them, then tell them what you've told them. I've expanded it to tell them what you're going to tell them again a little more differently, then tell them what you've told them. In fact, I tried to tell them 7 times. Okay, now that was my comparison. I hope you've got something out of it, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good week.